Hello, everybody. I think we have a lot of attendees in with us now, and it's great to see so many people joining in with us today, this Wednesday on a January evening, but at least we're all nice and toasty at home. So my name is Deirdre Carroll, and I work here in Maynooth University in the Admissions and Student Recruitment Office. I'm joined here by my colleague, Clodagh Burrington, who also works in the Admissions and Student Recruitment Office. And we will be hosting the Minute Meet the Students. So I'm conscious that we're a minute early, so we should just hold off a second while everyone comes in. But it's great to see so many people in with us this evening, and thank you so much for joining us. So my name's Deirdre, and Clodagh is also joining me here tonight, and we're going to have a brilliant discussion for our CAO information evening, chatting to all of our lovely students. And we're so lucky and we're very grateful to our students for giving us their time while they're currently doing their exams. So thank you very much, everybody. So I might ask everyone, what we'll do is we'll go around to all of the students here. If everyone wants to introduce themselves, maybe let everyone know what course you're studying and what secondary school you went to too.
Um, yeah, so my name is Anna. As you can see on the screen, I'm studying MH 101, BA Arts degree, and I do criminology and sociology as a double major. And I am an EU student, but I applied through the CAO. Yeah.
Thank you, Anna.
Hi everybody, my name is Amy. As you can see from my profile, I studied the MH 502 program, so I'm doing a Bachelor of Laws and I'm in my third year. I attended at Boy Community School as my secondary school, and then I also went to Dunboyne College Further Education and I came in as a PLC entrant through my QQI. So that's me, and I'll pass over to Jamie.
Yeah, so I'm Jamie. As it says, of course, I'm studying BBA marketing, and I came from St. Mary's Knockback College in Carlow originally. So yeah, that's all about me.
Hi guys, I'm Irina. I'm studying MH 209. That's the Bachelor of Science Psychology, and I came from just down the road. I'm in Kilcock. I went to school Dara.
My name's Taiba, and I'm also studying the BSc degree for psychology. I'm in my third year right now, and I applied through the CAO, and I live in Donabate, so I went to Donabate Community College.
Thank you so much, guys. And I can see that the Q&A is coming in, and we really encourage everyone to ask questions in the Q&A tonight as well. I can see the first question that's come in is asking how the arts degree works. So this discussion will be just about the students and their student experience. But we have more sessions on after this session at 7 o'clock, and then more sessions again at 8 p.m., which will be delving into the programs a bit deeper. So there will be a webinar there for the MH 101 arts degree and specialized degrees, which will detail. My colleague Kay Mitchell will give enormous detail on the structure of the course. Okay. So I guess my first question is, and the same thing for the, I could see a question just came in for the business degree, and the same thing for the business degree as well. It's really important to join on to that webinar. And if you've registered for the event, you would have an email with all of the links. And if not, if you go on to the webpage, mu.ie/CAO, timetable of events, and where you see the title of the talk, click that and it will redirect you towards the Zoom link. So my first question to everybody is, why did you choose Maynooth University and how are you a Maynooth student? So Jamie, I guess I'll kick it off with you. Tell us why Maynooth for you. How did you get here?
Yeah, for me personally, I was kind of considering the different colleges, and for Maynooth in particular, I went to the open day at first, and I just really enjoyed like how the campus looked, and I was able to talk with a few different people about the degrees there, and I just thought there was a lot of choice between like the arts degree and being able to pick different options that way. In the end, I ended up picking only marketing, so I didn't come in through the arts degree, but that was definitely part of a reason was having that much choice. And then as well, I saw there was loads of events on between the students' union and all the clubs and societies. So that was kind of the main reason for me, was just I saw there was a lot going on that way, and I did enjoy when I was there for the open day. So
Amazing. Thank you, Jamie. And important to note that our next open day will be in April, and you can sign up for that on mu.e/open days. Irina, why did you choose Maynooth? How did you get here?
I think similar to Jamie, I also came here. I was here because I lived just down the road. Every time there was an open day, I was there. I was at Maynooth. I really liked. I talked to a lot of the lecturers, and I think I always went to the psychology talk. Like I went to a lot of different talks, but psychology was always there. And I'd go, and I liked how everybody was so friendly. I really appreciated that. In a lot of the different colleges, you never got to actually approach the lecturer and be like, "Hey, can I ask you a question?" But I found that in Maynooth, that was really the case, and I liked how the structure of psychology was here, and that was really the final thing that pushed me and to come here to Maynooth.
Amazing. Thank you, Irina. And Anna, what about you?
Very similar to Irina and Jamie. I actually flew in for the open day.
Ooh, elite.
And I just really liked how the whole campus and everyone I just came across was so friendly. And also, just like Irina said, the lecturers are incredibly approachable. And obviously, I had to choose. Well, I was choosing across Ireland, but I just instantly fell in love with Maynooth and the campus. Yeah, it's a big campus, despite it just kind of being a relatively small town, and it still has a lot of students, and you kind of keep seeing people around, which is lovely.
Nice. Thank you, Anna. Tybet, what about you?
I would say the main reason why I chose it was very similar to where I live. It's kind of like a village area because I live in Donabate. Another reason would definitely be the open day. That was a big part of it. Just going through the talks and being able to speak to lecturers and also students at the stands afterwards, because students will be able to tell you some things that like lecturers might not be able to, and how the actual courses run. I thought that was really nice. And also I got a chance to tour around Maynooth and not just the actual college, but the area and the village area as well. And that definitely was a big choice for me. But I would say also the fact with my course specifically that a requirement is doing a science subject. And since I did two in the Leaving Cert, I didn't want that to go for nothing if I wasn't going to choose a like hard science degree.
Nice. Thank you. And what about you, Amy?
I chose Maynooth for a couple of reasons. I really liked how inclusive they were for QQI students. So they really prioritized making sure that we had spaces and that we were really heard of, which was really nice compared to some other colleges I looked at. And then I also really liked the transfer option. So for me, I wasn't too sure what I wanted to do. So when I started in the long criminology course, which is similar to the ARCS program, but in the BCL program, the MH 501. And I really liked I had the option then that if I liked law, I could move on to pure law, which I'm in now as MH 502. And that little bit of freedom to choose my own path was really important to me, that I wasn't stuck to one option, because first year can be a little bit daunting and you might not be 100% sure what you want to do. So I'm going to have to
Mhm.
really prioritize that even through their arts courses, that you can move across if you want to. And that was really important. And without that, I don't think I would have stuck out so long, because I really want to do the law. And like that too, like everyone else kind of said, it was local to me and I took advantage of that too, and which is really important. I make sure to attend the open days, and I took advantage of the tours that they were offering with student ambassadors. And it was a really full circle moment to have an ambassador. And then I met her when I came on campus my first week, and it was really sweet. And she convinced me to be a student ambassador, which I am now. So it's just
Ah,
little things like that that I think are important.
and I guess the next part is something that I look around at some of these subjects here and the areas that you're studying, and I look at marketing and I look at psychology and I look at criminology and sociology and law, and they're not subjects that you see in the Leave Cert curriculum specifically. I know you have business, but specific, marketing and that kind of area. So I think what would be really helpful is if everyone could just give like a really brief description of what it is that you study. Okay, and maybe some examples of the modules you study too, and the type, what your college course is, just really, really briefly. I know we could probably go on the whole webinar talking about it, but let's maybe just do it a little bit briefly. So, Amy, we'll kick it off with you again.
So law in Maynooth is I felt very different to the way it's taught in a lot of other places, and that to me is so important. It was more of a balance between the theory and the practical, which like in law or any other circle is going to be really important. That's through placement and a load of other options. But in my first year, I found it really exciting. We covered, it sounds a little bit strange, we covered negligence law, and that goes into like really, really interesting cases. And I think that's what law is about, trying to find different areas. Like you'll study criminal law, you'll study tort law, you can study contract law, and all these have little picks that are completely different and are completely spaced out. So you can really find something you're interested in them. One of my favorite parts of first year was doing tort law, and we had to do a court case simulation. So it was a mock trial. So we had a group of girls that we met, and I'm actually still friends with all the girls, and I met my best friend through it. And you have to go up in front of a barrister and present your case, and it's very suits and very wear your blazers. And I thought that was so exciting, and it really gives you an insight into what law might be like as a career. And that has continued throughout my whole career, throughout my whole degree. Like I'm in my third year now, and I just finished my negotiation module, which, like that, you're put in a group and you have to negotiate contract. And all these things are really important because law kind of spaces out so many different areas. You're given the opportunity to apply it practically. So that would be kind of what law is about. You can pick your modules then in second year and third year too, so to kind of grasp to what you like. So, for example, I'm just finishing up my exam next week in jurisprudence, which is like philosophy with law, and then I'm picking family law next semester and medical law. So you can really start to change your modules then as you get further into your degree to figure out what you kind of like as a career.
I love that. Thank you. Jamie, what about your course?
Yeah, so for my course to do with marketing in general, it's all kind of to do with like how a company or how a brand like talks and works with a customer that way. So say it's focusing on all the advertisements, and then it's also focusing on other stuff like say social media marketing as well. And so originally when I was looking at this, I hadn't even studied business for the even cert. I'd only studied accounting and economics, but I just kind of looked into it and I thought it was really interesting to see like even just like the psychology behind why we buy certain things or why we don't buy other things. And that's kind of the main reason I picked it. And in terms of the modules I've done, it's been nice because in first year, it kind of kept the modules fairly broad in case you wanted to transfer into, say, management or international business. And the further on into my degree I've went, the more focused it's been on marketing. And I've also had the choice to pick various modules to kind of make my course a bit more personalized to what I want to study. So, say in second year, I had the opportunity to study film studies and digital ethics, which wasn't
Cool.
really focusing on marketing, but it was nice to kind of mix it up compared to what other students might be doing. And then for next semester now, I've picked a module that's focused on using AI in business. So I feel like that was something as well. I was like, you kind of
Very
need that going
cool.
into the working world. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, marketing is just to do with like advertising to an extent that way. But I have found it really interesting so far.
I love that, and I think that is the you kind of speak about the different options and the something like that, like the media studies. I think that's what's so brilliant about Maynooth is that we cover so many areas, and it's great that with different courses, you get to dip your toes into different areas, and you're not so limited as well, just to your course then as well, or what you typically might have thought. Taibat, what about your course?
Yes, so psychology is basically the scientific study of the brain and behavior. So in Maynooth and like a lot of other degrees, you'll do a lot of core subjects like social psychology, developmental psychology, going about the brain and behavior and doing the anatomy of the brain. Also things like developmental psychology from birth to death, and how you change throughout all those phases inside your life. And then also you'll do things in the BA and the BSc because they're PSI accredited degrees, which means that you are able to do further study afterwards in those kind of degrees, which there's two in Maynooth. You do things like writing lab reports, conducting experiments, and also doing data analysis and gathering your own participants to participate in your studies. So I'd say for my course specifically, the BSc in psychology, you do a science subject in maths and psychology in your first year, and then after that you do pure psychology. So it's all the modules that I was speaking about before, and then the main difference is in your third year you get to do work placement for the whole year. The two different routes for psychology would be either going into research and academia, or you can go into clinical work or maybe working in a hospital or being a practitioner. So the fact that you're able to get two different work experiences And then from that, multiple references and things, I definitely say I chose psychology basically because it's just what I really like to do. And I feel like most people would know that or that it's just something that they would like. So I think that's mainly the thing about psychology.
Love that. Thank you so much. And then Anna, what about you?
Yeah, so I started out in first year with criminology, sociology, psychology, and critical skills through arts. And at the moment, I kept on criminology and sociology. And criminology, many people have this idea that it's so much kind of detective work. It's not quite that. It's more so about like policy reform. I currently do chronological theory and research methods. But as as in second year, I was able to choose a couple of modules that are kind of more specific to specific topics. So I had ethnicity, crime and punishment, and I will also have structures of inequality. And then for sociology, I first year is very much just an introduction through the MH101 degree, and kind of similar now in second year, I was able to pick sociology of gender or social worlds of children. Yeah, those are kind of the modules that I'm going to pick or have picked for second year.
And the arts degree is so vast. There's over 30 subjects. There's so much choice. And when you come into the arts degree, you put the one code in your CAO, MH101 Arts, and you go in and you get to pick up to four subjects there for your first year. And you have 4 weeks that you get to change around your subjects. Anna, how did you decide on your subjects?
I came in to Maynooth wanting to do criminology and psychology, well, psychological studies through MH101. Um, However, I didn't actually have sociology picked in the first week, but I still went to the lectures. I had anthropology picked, so I went to all of the lectures because I wasn't sure. And I just really, really liked sociology. And so it went from me not actually having, registered for the module to me actually keeping it on for second and obviously third year as well. Yeah.
I love that. It's brilliant. And you did critical skills in first year. What is critical skills?
Critical skills is kind of a subject that should help you with all of your other subjects that you do and all modules. It's mainly focused on critical skills. So it should help you with, it's kind of an introduction to university writing, how to manage kind of, reading scientific papers and also, things like public speaking. I had a public speaking assignment, and it is very much small class based. So you're in a class of like roughly 20 people. So it's very interactive. Yeah, which is just kind of an introduction into university.
I love that. Thank you so much. And Irina, I know Tybert has kind of explained your course already, but I know because you told me at the start that you are actually an entrance scholar. So an
Yeah.
entrance scholar to Maynooth University is when you get when you obtain over 575 points, you become an entrance scholar. So what tell us about becoming an entrance scholar and what that involved.
So it was basically I didn't know that was a thing when I got into before I got into
Nice
Maynooth.
bonus.
Yeah, I actually remember getting the email and it was like, "Oh, you're an entrance scholar," and I had to actually go to Maynooth's page and be like, "What is an entrance scholar?" And yeah, so it was basically I remember getting an email and I had to fill in, what my course is, how many points I got. And basically, apart from the very nice monetary award that you get, there is a ceremony that happens, I think, around February,
Yes.
and it's with the president and the of Maynooth, and the parents are there, and you can invite the teachers. And I think that was a great honor, and it was like a such a full circle moment. And they ask you in the form that you have to fill out, who's your favorite teacher? And I remember filling it out, and I was like, well, that's a very strange question. I was like, what? I didn't know that it would like carry through in college. And I remember seeing my teacher there, and I was like, wow, this is such like a full circle moment. You get to be there, and it's kind of like a this big award, because so many students are so hardworking, and it's kind of like the university's thank you, basically.
Yeah. Oh, I love
Yeah, so it's
that.
great.
And tell me then, next is how would you say that you're doing the BSc psychology? Somebody has asked in the question box, how do you think that the BA and the BSc would differ? So I guess from a perspective of a BSc psychology student, how would you find what would you find the difference?
So I think the biggest difference actually is the first year of study is the biggest difference because we're more split in first year. So while the BScs are doing their maths and their sciences, I did biology and my math subject, so calculus, linear algebra, and statistics are the maths. So the BAs, the art students, they don't have the maths and they don't have the science. I remember talking to a lot of the art students, and they did philosophy, anthropology, and I think sociology was one of them. So basically, you can pick the arts, and then while you differ in first year, in the following year, so I'm in second year right now, and a lot of I think actually, all of the modules that I have, all of the classes I attend are with the BAs. So
Hmm.
we're together now. We do the psychological statistics together. We do every other module together. So I think the length is different. BA is 3 years, and I think it depends on whether you do study abroad, but BSc is 4 years. So I think the length is the biggest difference, and then the first year is kind of a difference. But then after that, we're all sort of together and we're doing the same thing.
Love that. Thank you so much, Irina. And I guess something that differs too is the placement option. So I know we have two students here, Jamie and Tybot, that have some knowledge to share, I guess, on placement. So Tybot, maybe do you want to kick off first and on the placement for us?
Yeah, so in Maynooth for psychology, in the BSc, there is a chance to do placement for your third year. And so you basically get two different placements. In the first semester, you have a research placement, and then second semester, you have work placement. And seeing that those are the two different routes that you can go to for psychology, it's nice to have real world experience in both. So basically, how it works is in the first semester for the research experience, you get to do either you work with a lecturer that is doing the same discipline that you are. So for me, for neuropsychology, I was working with a lecturer who's also a neuropsychologist, and I was helping them with the work that they're doing. So whether that be like writing articles or actually conducting experiments, getting participants for the lecturer, I helped with some grant applications as well, and studies that he was doing at the time. And they try to pair you up with someone who is also doing something that you're doing. So you actually get something out of it. And it's a
Oh,
nice
cool.
reference at the end as well. And then for second semester, you do actual placement. So since I want to do neuropsychology, I was doing it with someone. I'm going to be doing my placement with the Mater Hospital. So I'm working with a clinical neuropsychologist that works in the hospital. So it's two different placements, but you get two different you get two different experiences, and it can really help you choosing if you don't know if you want to do research or if you want to do placement as well. So it's a nice opportunity to have.
That's really cool.
Thank you.
And tell me, thank you so much for that. And Jamie, tell me a bit about your placement experience then in the different area.
Yeah, so with my one, I of course entered into marketing as like BBS marketing. And then for any of the three main business streams, so international business or I think it's business management, you can choose in your second year to either go study abroad or go on work placement in your third year, and then it becomes a BBA degree. So in my case, I chose to do a work placement. And with this one, I was able to get help from the placement office. They gave us a CV template, CV advice, interview advice. We had a weekly class kind of discussing um, various advice for stuff like interviews and so on. And eventually, I was able to get a placement at Samsung Electronics on their online e-commerce store. So I found that really helpful for just getting like proper hands-on experience and like practical work, which I was able to then match with my like theory that I learned in college. And then as well, it just gave me a lot more skills that I've been using now in my final year to help with projects. So it's been really useful for me anyways.
How did you find the year on placement then, Jamie?
It was good. It was good. It was a lot of hands-on work. It's not as simple as just like only doing bits here and there. For in my case at least, there was a lot of responsibility and stuff, which I found very useful for like actually learning to that extent. And then as well, there was a work placement assignment which kind of helped with like putting words to what you were doing. So afterwards I had like a workbook that kind of explained like, oh, I learned communication through this experience, or I learned teamwork through this experience. So
Wow,
it did,
brilliant.
yeah, yeah, it gave you a lot of like exactly how to phrase it for when you're applying for jobs after your degree as well. And it's great as well because you get access to all these services even if you're not studying, or even if you're not going to do a work placement, you get help with your CV and with interviews. So yeah, it was really good.
And there's a question here, was going abroad mandatory?
For marketing, it's not mandatory. I'm not sure if it's mandatory for any of the degrees, but for marketing at least, it wasn't mandatory. You could have chose to go straight into final year, or to work, or to go study abroad.
Brilliant. And there's a question there about an arts business degree difference with a business degree itself. So you can study business within the BA degree that Anna is studying, or you can study a specialized business course, is the difference there. It just depends on the subjects you like to study, and it depends on the area where when we say specializing. So there's another question they're asking about specializing in one major. It just means a major you could have a double major, a single major, a major stream, or a minor. So it would mean you do more modules in something. But if you were to do a major, minor, it would be mean you do more classes if we were to break it down in a way than you would in the lower stream then, or in the other area. Um. Then my next question is for Amy here, and thank you for that, Jamie. Uh, Somebody is interested in doing law at Maynooth next year, and they're interested to know what your plans are after you graduate.
Oh, that's actually a really good question. You caught me on the hop. No, I think the first thing I'd say is no matter what you're kind of looking at doing, I'd focus more on maybe when you're looking, say, at getting into college and going for your course, focus on what you want in your course first. And then when you're there, focus on what you want after it. Because for me, I went in and I was in the same position as Anna was. So I went in thinking I want something and then I wanted something else. And I went in thinking, I love criminology. I'd love to study it. I'd love to be an investigator. I'd love to do all this kind of stuff. I'd love to go in psychology. And then when I got there, I was like, actually, I really love the law. And that kind of changed then my perspective then going forward. So I always look at what you want to do for the course first. And then when you're stabilized in that, then go, okay, maybe I'd like to do this. And for me, I'm very lucky. I'm being able to experience so many different areas of law has been eye-opening in a lot of ways. And I would love to go on and be a barrister, which is you can go on to be a barrister if you study the BCL or the LLB. They're the two accredited law degrees. So you can't do it through the ARCS program, but you can do it through those two degrees. And for a solicitor, then you can go through from any route. I work with a law firm in Dublin called A&L Goodbody, and I was lucky enough to get set up with them as their brand ambassador. And that for me this year has kind of opened my eyes maybe to a career in commercial law and things like that. But there's so many elements to it, and having a degree when you leave here is it's so valid and it's so valuable. And I think a lot of people maybe think, oh well, I'm just doing this degree or I'm just doing that degree. And it makes no odds. If you're doing a degree, that's a massive part. You can show that to any kind of employer, any kind of career you want to go into. So I'm not 100% sure between the barrister and solicitor route, but I'm happy that both of them are open to me and that I can focus on the degree and do really well and then see where it leads me then after that. But the barrister route is kind of what I'm leaning towards at the moment.
Thank you very much, Amy. And Anna, can you tell me there's about the facilities in Maynooth, as there's a question in on them?
Yeah, I don't know what exactly you're referring to, but there is loads of facilities. I am in dance society, so I would be in the sports center a lot, which is currently being renovated, but you can still access it. And there's academic facilities such as a writing center or a math support center. We have a campus doctor, which is great because it's free for students. And we have so many buildings to either study or just kind of hang out in. We have a lovely big library, which is currently very packed because everyone's studying for exams. And yeah, just lovely, lovely buildings. Yeah.
Thank you. And Taiba, do you use any of the student supports that are available to you on campus?
I would say, at least when I was doing maths in first year, I used the math support center a lot. It's just a space where you can go in and there's people who are postgrads in maths that can help you with your work. So we got a lot of CA assignments. We had assignment every single week for maths. And it was nice to go in there and even you can see people that are in your course and are working on the same assignments to get help that way. That would be mainly for maths. And then since I do psychology, there's a lot of writing involved, and there's also a writing support center. So they do some talks on how to do specific kinds of writing, like reflective writing or scientific writing, and how to help with that. You can also do one-on-one meetings or even group meetings, and they can go through your work and help you try to improve it. Um, but also there's career meetings as well. I know I did one last year when I was in second year. I wasn't too sure because the placement was coming up and I wasn't sure exactly what I wanted to do with my degree. So they can help you and give you good resources for your own research and just looking into what you want to do. Maybe there's some career fairs that are coming up for your degree specifically, and they can kind of point you in the right direction with that.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And Jamie, I know you're a student success ambassador. What does that involve?
Yeah, so for that personally, it's just working closely with the Student Skills and Success Office. And what they do primarily is just helping with the various skills you need for college. So one of their supports is the Writing Support Center, which is helping with academic writing. So how to write these college essays, as well as like general tips to do it like studying and breaking up time for studying. So they kind of give broad help that way. And then as well as that, they work closely with the likes of the placement office and there's a site called Placement Connect, which offers both placement roles as well as graduate roles. So they kind of help with both your skills in college and then as well as your skills with finding a job out of college. So that'll be the primary part of that role for me.
Perfect. Thank you so much for that. And then I guess there's a question here. Then, Irina, did you find the campus difficult to navigate?
No, I found it actually very easy to navigate. So I've been to many different open days. So I've been to like Trinity and UCD. I remember getting so lost, but this was kind of like more simple, I found. Because especially because it's split into North and South campus, and most of my classes at least were located in the North campus. So I think eventually you'll get used to it anyway, even if you do find it complicated. But I feel like, there is a lot of facilities, but there's not so many that you're gonna get lost every single day in a way. So yeah, I felt like, especially having my all of my classes, at least in first year, on North Campus, that really helped me to kind of, remember everything that there is on the north side and then the south side kind of. I left it to explore.
Yes, I love that. And thank you so much. And I'm just trying. So then, Amy, what is campus life like as a student?
Campus life is very bustling as a student. It's very busy. So it kind of depends what you want to do. That's how I work it. If you want to be more involved, you have the option to be more involved. And if you'd like step back and just focus really on what you're doing, you can also do that. So I saw that there was kind of a gap, and I was lucky enough that if you have an interest and there's no society for it, you can fill that gap. So a couple of friends of mine, we all made the Women in Law Society and we developed that. And we kind of boosted that up. And then I'm also on the Law Society as events officer. So we plan a load of different events to help you from your CV to what you want to do in law, to different career options. And then we also hold the law ball at the end of the year, which is my baby this year, and it's very exciting. But there's so many, like that's the broad difference. You can have your fun with your education, really, and that's why I think Minute is all about. And you have your student union there that have Coca-Cola come and Curry's come to give you prizes and ball pools full of gifts and everything. And I think there's a very fun, energetic vibe to Minute. There always has been, and especially then that you have kind of the busy with the quiet too. Like South Campus is absolutely gorgeous for people who haven't seen it. And you can kind of, I feel like that's the nice quiet end of campus, where North Campus is always so bustling and busy, but it's nice to have those options of where you'd like to go to.
And then, thank you so much, Amy. There was a question on critical skills, but actually, I'm going to type that. Um, could anyone give me some information on clubs and societies? I know
I can
Amy kind of,
talk about, oh,
yeah,
sorry.
yes, of
I can
course.
talk about Dance Society a little bit,
Yeah, please
because
do.
I've been a member since last year, and I've danced before I got to Maynooth, so I knew that I was going to join, but it is open to anyone. And there's different teams that actually go and compete at intervarsities, which we will be doing next March again. So that means against other the dance societies of other colleges across Ireland. Um, and it's just a lovely community. I've found some of my best friends there. And we have some day classes on for anyone. And then we do have the intervarsity teams. You have to audition for them, but there is 5 different teams, and it's just a lovely experience. Yeah.
And there's a question on accommodation. So, how does everyone get to college? How has everyone spent their college experience so far? So, I guess, Irina, how do you get to college?
Yeah, so because I live in Kilcock, and for anyone who doesn't know, that's literally down the road. I take the 115, the bus, and I it's genuinely just a 10-minute bus ride from Kilcock to Maynooth and vice versa. So, but you can also take the train. Some of my friends take the train. They say it's faster or whatever, but I love taking the bus to college because it's the bus stop is right like it's on campus, it's near the library, so I find it very handy, going in and out of classes to like if it's on campus. So I find it really handy too when you're rushing home or rushing to class because it's right there and you don't have to run from the train station. But the good thing is that you have the option to take the train if you'd like and to take the bus if you like, and I feel like they're equally as good, but I'm a big bus taker. So yeah, and
It's
it's
a
not.
personal preference.
Yeah.
I love that. Thank you, Irina. Amy, how do you get to college?
So in my first year and my second year, I was lucky enough to live most of the time in digs with family friends, where it was very helpful and it's lovely to live in the town. And then the other times where I was coming up, I got the private bus routes to Maynooth. So for areas that might not have a lot of public transport, like I'm from Trim in County Meath, and you can't get a lot of buses from Trim, but there's a lot of private options available through the college, which I found really helpful and really reliable. So they pick you up from different areas. I know they go from Cavan, Kells, Trim, a whole load of different places. I think they're on the website on the transport link. And for that, it was so helpful because they pick you up where you are and they'll drop you to a destination within campus. So you're just right behind the Phoenix, which is one of the restaurants on campus, which is just so helpful. And then you also know that you have an exact time when you're getting the bus and when you're getting home. So I wasn't really relying on public transport, which is lovely. And then hopefully I wish to start driving soon, and I will very much enjoy parking in Maynooth. I know a lot of my friends that go up and they drive and they love just the idea of maybe going up early, going up a little bit later, maybe just popping up for a class or popping up to the library. So I think there's so many options and they're all open to everyone.
And the parking permit is €40 for the year
Yes.
at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. And
Yes.
then I think if you apply after Christmas, you only pay 20. So you pay per term or together.
Thank you so much. Tybot, how do you get to college?
So I live in Donaghbate, which is in Dublin, and it takes around 2 hours for me to get to Maynooth. Um, So I guess that really shows like why I did choose the college. I actually did like it in the end. So I take 2 trains. I just prefer trains than buses, but there are multiple different routes that you can take. The 115 that Arena mentioned, it starts from Dublin Connolly, so you can take it. It's like an just under an hour, I would say, to Maynooth, but for the most part, it's direct and it's like a coach. So it is a quite a nice bus. But there's also a few different routes on the train as well that you can take to Maynooth, and then it's like a 10-15 minute walk to campus. So my main route would be 2 trains. So a train into Connolly and then the Minute train or the Sligo train will also take you there. Or after when I'm in Connolly, I just take the 115, which brings you right up to campus.
Thank you so much. Anna, I don't presume you are commuting from Austria.
I am not. I used to live on campus for my first year. Yeah, mainly because obviously practicality reasons. I was applying for it and I knew in the summer, okay, I have a space there and I don't have to worry about kind of, finding a place to live. Um, and it was lovely. I made some of my best friends there. But I will say it can get a bit hectic, because it's a lot of students living together. And then in second year, I actually found digs, so off-campus accommodation. So I live in Clane now, which is about a 15-minute drive from campus. There is a bus, which sometimes is a little bit unreliable, but there is life tracking. So the 139, that's the one I take, and it's good. It's okay. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And Jamie, what about you?
Yeah, so in my case, in first year, I got digs just outside of campus. So I was in Maynooth town, which was great. It was only about a 20-minute walk away. And at that time, I was still living in Carlow. So I'd get the JJ Kavanagh bus. And with JJ Kavanagh, they do two bus routes to and from Carlow each day, which I found great. It was a bit more flexible compared to other ways. And as well as it was a bit more direct in comparison to getting other times I get the bus to Houston and the train to Carlow. So that was a bit easier, just get one bus. In my second year, then I just started driving from Carlow. So I'd get on the M7, I think it is, onto the N7. And that was about an hour to an hour and a half, depending on traffic. Because I mean, there'd be some days you'd just be chock-a-block in traffic there. And then now I'm actually living in Lucan, so I'm driving most days just because it's a bit more flexible compared to getting the bus, I find. And that's about half an hour, 45 minutes. But then if I'm not in a rush, there'll be other days I get the C3, I can get the C3, C4, or the 115. I'll go into campus. So I have a few options that way, which is great.
And how did you apply for digs?
In my case in particular, I actually had a friend who was in digs and a spot cleared out there. So I was very lucky I could get in that way. But I know there is a room finder service specifically for Maynooth students.
Hmm.
And that's specifically for finding digs as well, which is great. So
Hmm.
I would have had that option too if I was looking for it.
There's a service called Student Pad in Maynooth that students can get off-campus accommodation from the Student Pad, and all the properties are available on this. So that's rental properties and digs, and they've said that they have accommodation for all students there. It might be digs, and it could be or and it might be Clane, like where Anna is saying, or it could be Lucan, like Jamie is coming from. But there is that service there, and it's only available to Maynooth University students. It's password protected. It's protected in that kind of way, which is a brilliant service for students. Taiba, tell me, somebody's asking how far is the train station from campus?
It's it depends what campus you're going to, if you're going to South or North campus. If you're going to South campus, it's probably like 10 minutes. It's definitely way quicker. But it's at most it's 15 minutes. And I don't really think that's quite long as a
No,
walk because I guess I go further than that, so it really isn't anything.
exactly. And Irina, somebody is asking for the bus, the 115 bus stop. Where is that on campus?
So if you look at the where the library is, there's this big building that you see just outside the from up the side of the road, and it says Monash University, and it's on that side. So that's on the side of the South Campus, and it's just there, a little short walk from the library. Where just once you exit, you can see the bus stop, and it's right there.
Thank you so much. And somebody's asked about the bus that goes from Maynooth to Maynooth from Lucan. Jamie had mentioned it is the Dublin bus, the C3 or the C4, or the 115, the Bus Éireann bus as well. Um, some questions are coming in about which buses to come to campus. So if you search mu.ie/getting here, which I'll put as a reply for one of the questions, you can find all of the bus services there. Uh, there's another question on popular courses in Maynooth. Yes, there is an engineering course, an electronic engineering course in Maynooth University. So I have a question in about timetables. So what are timetables like? Hours per day? Is it well distributed? Is the college life balanced with social life? Are weekly timetables intensity subject to your chosen course? So yes, every course is different. So Amy, what's your timetable like?
I have a copy of it on my wall. Do you want me to pull it down?
No, it's okay. Just
You're
briefly.
just looking at it can space out, okay? So, like for my first year, I had a couple of gaps, and for my second year, I had a couple of gaps, and my third year was kind of the same. But when you first get your timetable, you might go, "Oh God, I have say a space between 10 and 4." But then you need to think about your tutorials and what other classes you might have and your study. And there's a whole look. I'm just looking up here, and I have a day off on a Thursday, and I have a gap from 11 to 3 on a Tuesday. But that for me is not really a gap because by the time I get my tutorials, your tutorials are kind of like smaller base classes because your lectures might be maybe 400 to 500 people, 200 to 300 people. So your tutorials, sorry, are just smaller base classes to make sure you understand what's happening in the lecture. So I probably have maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, about 9 lectures per week, which wouldn't be a lot. And then your tutorials, you might have maybe 4 subjects in each tutorials, but you'll only have them on certain weeks. So in total, you're talking maybe 12 hours, 13 hours kind of work for me anyway as a law student. But like they do distribute really well, and like by the time you meet up with friends and social life in Maynooth is very important as well, and kind of having that environment and your friends to meet up or go to the SU for a coffee or go and have a look in the library and things like that. So they will fill up those blanks quite fast.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Amy. And I guess Irina, what do you think about timetables?
I think similar to what Amy said, like you have these gaps, and I feel like from the perspective of secondary school where you have every minute of your day filled and then you have break and whatever, it seems kind of strange. But then you kind of have, yeah, these tutorials which you will register to early in the semester, but by that time you already know what your timetable is. So you'll see like, okay, I have a 2 hour gap, so I'll get a tutorial, I'll squeeze a tutorial in there so I don't have to do it later in the week or whatever just to fill the gap. And I feel like from my perspective, in first year, I did biology and I had, so on my timetable, it seemed empty. And then later they told us, okay, so you have labs. So I feel like anybody who's going down that route, where you have these labs, like physics or engineering, computer science, biology, whatever, I think you have to remember that when it seems, oh, this is very empty, Jesus, this is a very empty day. Like, oh my God, I remember seeing mine and it's like Thursday and Friday seemed off. And I was like, wow, that's strange, coming from this secondary school perspective, but then you'll have labs, and I feel like that's important to account for. But I feel like it gets easier, in first year, especially first semester. It was kind of it seemed heavy. I
It's the
remember,
transition to Irina, isn't
yeah,
it, from
yeah.
secondary school to university. Thank you. And somebody's just asked, what's a tutorial? Can anyone describe what a tutorial is?
Do you want me to jump on?
Yeah, come on in.
So tutorials basically, like I just said, so lectures are going to be big. So think about how many students there are. I think we were around 16,000 students here last year in Maynooth. So your lectures are going to be maybe a little bit bigger depending on what kind of course you take. So for me, doing the BCL in first year, that's combined with ARC students as well and your law students. So everyone's in the one room doing your lectures, and you might be one lecturer and a lot of students. So I remember one lecture I had was around 400 students. So basically, what your tutorials is, you get an option of different times and different days. You pick one of them and you go to that tutorial. And what it'll do is basically break down the information in your lectures. It's a lot of information that you're going to get. And think about if you have a subject, you're only seeing it twice a week. So what it does is maybe brings in the most important information or what the lecturer would like you to know a little bit more on or be strong on for those subjects. And you sit down with a tutor who might be a final year student, they could be a PhD student, and they talk you through basically what that part is. And you get to learn a little bit more about it, answer some questions about it, ask them questions about it. And I think it's that middle ground really between the lecturer and the class. Now, the lecturers are incredibly helpful, like, but
And for languages, it would be more based, maybe on specific
yeah.
elements like grammar and that. So we've 2 minutes left. The time is flying by. So, quick question. I'm going to do quick speed round to everybody. And everybody, please give us one piece of advice for any leaving cert students, any PLC students, anyone currently completing their CAO application form. What is your one nugget of advice? Anna.
Don't panic, I think. Don't panic. If you think everybody seems like they know what they're doing, they probably don't. Yeah. we're all here to figure it out. And it seems like a scary step from secondary school, but you will actually be fine. And there's so much support, especially around Maynooth, I find, and you can literally approach anyone.
Thank you, Irina.
I think specifically for psychology, this is something I wanted to hear when I was in Leaving Cert. I'll just throw it out there because it was very important to me. If you want to do a Bachelor of Science psychology, don't be scared of the maths. I feel like everybody's trying to convince you maths is scary and don't do it if you don't like statistics. I wasn't a huge maths person and I, it was like flyby. It was so easy and it's much easier than higher level Leaving Cert mathematics. So don't be scared of it, please. Just go into it, even if you're a little scared like I was. It will not be as bad as they say it is.
Love that. Amy.
My best advice is do what you want to do and maybe not what your friends want to do. Don't be influenced by anyone. Listen to yourself and remember you have a million doors into different routes and just take your time deciding.
Thank you. Taibat.
I would definitely say this is specific to psychology as well, but most courses will teach the same content in it. So I think it's important that you choose a college that you think is right for you. And you can do that by talking to students, talking to lecturers, and going to open days and actually getting a feel for the college and the area around it. Because, like, and the name of a college is not going to get you up to actually go into college. It's important that you choose one that you actually genuinely want to go to.
Thank you. And Jamie.
My advice would kind of just be to pick something you want to study that you love rather than picking something that you think you'll do well in, because it's a lot easier to get well at something you're enjoying instead of trying to trudge your way through something you think you're good at, but then like you'll easily fall behind that way. So definitely pick something you like.
Thank you so much. And my piece of advice is join us for our next open day on April 24th. Sign up now on mu.ie/open days. I think everybody here has described how an open day has influenced or helped them with their decision. And you really won't know where your choice of area is, and you won't know where you're going to thrive and where you can see and have the best few years of your life unless you go to an open day. And it really opens your eyes to possibilities. You get to speak to lecturers, you get to speak to staff, support staff, all the different facilities. You get to see them join a campus tour, speak to current students, like our amazing student ambassadors that are here today. So I want to say big, massive thank you to all of our amazing student ambassadors. Thank you, Irina, Amy, Tybad, Anna, and Jamie for giving all of this guidance to our prospective students. Thank you to Clodagh, who's been with me here today as well. And there will be a recording of this webinar on our YouTube channel, Minute CAO, and there are previous years there as well if you'd like to try and maybe see if there's a previous student there that is studying the current program that you're interested in. So we're going to jump on to other webinars now. So thank you so much, everybody. We hope you really enjoyed this session. Thank you to our students. Thank you to Clodagh. Thank you so much. And we'll see you at our next open day on April 24th. Thanks, everybody.